6.
Overexposed.
We're thinkingrealestate.com, 787-3397. Mark's website is
www.
Mark's computer, if you have a question.
Is on, and he's typing fast.
www.thinkingrealestate.com, and anybody can email me, anybody, at mark@thinkingrealestate.com.
You can call Laura after the show at 780-3800. You can call Mark after the show at that number. Call Jackie after the show at that number.
It's a good number, 780-3800.
Yes. Very easy to remember.
Say hi to Mary.
There's a big open house coming up on Horton Road.
25. Thank you, Greg. Thank you. 2500 Horton Road, Sunday, 12 to 2.
Get some of the house cleaning out of the way.
Exactly.
Well, I have some, but I'm going to save my open houses till the end of the
Well,
show.
you can go ahead.
Well, I'll repeat it.
All right, at 5489 Benton Road.
That's a nice place.
Yeah, it is. It's got a lot of bedrooms in
room.
it. At 119 is the price.
Napoleon Schools.
Yes.
Off of M50.
Yeah, and a large fenced-in yard with a 2-car detached garage, and just a bigger than it looks.
Is that by the golf course?
It's
Yeah, it
across
is.
the street, yeah, sort of kitty corner across
Nice
the street.
area.
Pebble Beach.
And then 7561 Lakeview.
Pebble Green Valley.
Exactly. That's where I learned
Pebble
golf when
Valley.
I was 12.
Yeah,
You don't look like a golfer to me.
he does too.
You don't act like a
That
golfer
summer,
to me.
I golfed.
Okay, one summer.
To get myself out of my parents' hair, I believe.
Yeah, or vice versa. Anyhow, 7561 Lakeview is Wolf Lake. It's right on the end of the channel, close to the end of the channel, with a great view of Wolf Lake. 115. It's a little cream puff.
It's on the lake?
Well, it's
It's on the
technically
channel.
on the channel, but you
Oh,
have
okay.
a beautiful. It's
Is that
only
between Big and Little?
no, it's on Wolf.
Okay.
Big. And it is a cream puff, 1 bedroom, 115. And both those open houses.
Now, when you say cream puff, are you talking breakfast?
yeah,
It's
you
sweet.
could have breakfast.
Sweet.
It is sweet?
It's a nice house. I mean, it needs a little updating, but the kitchen's adorable, and the living room with a fireplace.
Maybe we
and-
should do a show on
Okay.
our real estate terms. Like cream puff means it's really in great condition and it's sweet. And if it needs a hug, it needs a little bit of work.
Okay.
Yeah. And my open houses are 1 to 2:30.
Wow, those are short.
2:30 is dentist time. Did you know that? 2:30. 2:30. Get it? And you know what today is?
Today is somebody's birthday.
No. It's
No?
33 days before the election.
Which election?
What election?
November 8th. I think it's 33 days.
Oh, in
if
the
I do
city?
my math right.
In the
Well,
city?
I think nationally, well, not nationally, at least Michigan, it's November 8th.
Okay.
That's my cousin's birthday. My cousin Jeff.
Really?
Mhm.
It's a lot of people's birthday.
Hey.
There's a lot of
He's an
Scorpios in the
undertaker.
world.
Anyway.
He is?
Mm-hmm.
What's he
Locally,
undertake?
or-
Does he undertake a
Nichols
lot of
Arthur in
projects?
Michigan Center.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Grew up at Clark Lake.
So if anybody wants to know where some great
Single.
Undertakers are.
great Tudor foreclosures are coming up in the Queens area, you should call me because I've been door knocking in that area. There are 3.
What?
I'm not going to give up the addresses though. You have to call me to find out what they are.
How would they get a hold of you?
780-3800.
So I have speaking
We're
of this.
previewing foreclosures?
When you door knock, you see a whole different element of the city. I mean, you're
What do you
looking
mean?
at
Is
each
that a
and
real
every
estate?
house.
Is that a real estate term?
Element?
No.
Door knock.
Door knocking. I'm door knocking for my
Oh.
candidacy, but
Yeah.
But she does
Okay.
door knock for real estate.
I
as
do
well.
door knock for real estate, and you just
See, you have your real estate hat on, and I'm not thinking.
you should
Politico.
be
He's thinking real estate.
He should be thinking real estate.
That's what I am thinking.
But when I'm out there door knocking,
thought you
whether
were-
it's to sell a house or to win the 4th Ward,
Yeah.
I look at people. I look at the houses. I mean,
Assess them.
right.
Yeah.
And there's
Because she's
some
thinking real estate.
very
all the time.
cool. Like a couple I knocked on yesterday. You'd love to know the thought when they were building it, because down Washington Street, there's some amazing houses.
There are.
Absolutely amazing houses. So.
I thought you were just going
No,
around
and I'm
looking
also
for
finding out who
foreclosures.
would like to sell, but they don't want to put their house on the market right now. So I've got a lot of pocket listings, I think.
Wow. Okay.
So I was talking to a potential seller on Tuesday who has a home on a lake. So I always do statistics when I do a market analysis, so we can see where the market has been and where it's going, kind of predict. So I thought I'd share. I did lakefront statistics in Jackson County. So
Share those with us.
I will. So this year to date, there have been 71 closings lakefront. 8 of those have been foreclosures and 2 have been short sales.
So 10% of the, over 10% have been foreclosures.
Right, compared to last year. Now, this is only...
That's interesting considering that 50% of the non-lake, or all foreclosures are, or all closings, excuse me, are foreclosures.
Right, and only 8 have sold on a lake that have been foreclosure. And there's only 2 on the market right now. And do you want to know what the average list price of a lakefront house is right now?
Hold it, there's only 2 lakefront?
No,
What?
only 2 foreclosures that are lakefront right
Oh.
now.
In the whole what area?
In the whole county.
God, that's hard to believe.
On what lakes are they?
Wow.
Well, the whole county.
I know, but what lakes are they on, those 2 houses?
Oh, I didn't look those up.
Oh.
I'm sorry. You can look it up.
I could, maybe I will.
And there's 1 short sale. The average list price is $277,670.
Of
Lakefront property. It's the average list price. And
What
there's
is it, 2?
all properties or all
277 of all lakefront properties in the county
that are for sale?
that are for sale.
Okay.
The average list price is $277,670, and there's 128 listings. So if anyone thinks you can get a lakefront property for under $100,000, you're
probably
crazy.
can.
Right. Now the ones that sold, the average sale price is $199,984,000
That sold this past year?
this year. That's an
So
increase over
that would
last
tell
year.
me that there's a lot of wheeling and dealing going on.
Well, that's an increase of 6.73% over last year.
Really? Well, if the average price is
200 roughly.
277, didn't you say?
That's the average list price. The average sale price is just shy of 200,000.
Right. Well, that's quite a difference, isn't it?
Well, the
Well,
average list price of the ones that sold for just shy of 200,000 was 224,000. So that's only a $24,000 wheeling and dealing, as you call it. We call it negotiation.
But right now it's 277.
Current ones that are on the market, yep.
Current one, okay.
Now last year we had 78 closings. Now we've had 71 so far. So I think we'll exceed that 78, and 22 of them were foreclosures.
Are you taking calls, by the way?
Yes, I am.
Good morning.
Hi, I have a what would you do question.
Okay.
It was due to close on a house yesterday, and the day before that, the financial institution said that all the finances were set, but they now wanted the pool on the property to be filled with water, be filled with dirt, or be covered with a safety cover of some kind. I don't own the house yet. The people that I'm buying it from said that if I do anything on that property and then I don't buy that property, then I'll be held responsible for it. So I want to know, what would you do? I can't close until the pool is fixed, and they've already done an appraisal on the house, and then the last minute the appraisers decided now we want the furnace and everything turned on so they can see that, and all of this came down the day before the closure was to happen.
Wow, hang on.
Well-
I want to hear this one.
First of all, having the heat, having the electric on is not, and the water on for the appraiser is it's common. In fact, I don't think we've had an appraisal done yet where the appraiser hasn't required.
In fact, they usually will ask before they make the appointment, is it
Yeah.
on?
So
Because
that's a common thing, and that seller should make sure.
They already had appraised it, and they never asked. They
So
just went and appraised it without even knowing until it was done. And then, the day before, they decided they wanted to know, have the heat on, which we would have complied with that if we'd known about it.
Is it a foreclosure?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, and then, well, typically the agents know that all that stuff has to be done before the appraiser goes out. Second of all, the pool situation, did you say a cover could be put on it?
First they said it had to be filled with water or filled with dirt, and then my real estate person talked to them, and then they decided that they could just go with a hard cover placed on it.
Yeah, and I think that the pool covers, I don't know how much they are, but that's probably the route I would go. And if you're pretty certain you're going to buy it and close on it, and that's the only thing holding up, I probably would make the investment and have it done.
Are you going to tear the pool out?
No, I was going to repair it. I was going to start working on it the day after I closed by putting a safety cover on it. But the safety cover requires, my son-in-law looked at the pictures last night, and you can't buy a safety. It's like a big pool, 20 by 40. You can't buy a safety cover for maybe under $1,000, but you have to drill numerous holes
Sure.
all around
Yep.
and anchor it. And it's not my property yet.
Yeah, if the lender's certain they're going to loan you the money, and if that's the only thing holding up the closing, that's probably a gamble that I personally would take.
Yeah, but she can't. It's not her property. She can't get
Well,
on it.
they'll let her do it. That's just if for some reason she doesn't close,
She
she
loses
won't get her
that
money
investment.
back.
Oh, I see.
So,
That's a risk that
Yes, I also wouldn't get the money back from the pool cover because each time we complete phase that they request something new. This is Citizens Bank, so I'm wondering about going to the man you have on, Bill George Bank, or whatever. And I have all my finances in that bank. I have as much in there as I'm going to be borrowing. So.
I think that's you're talking about lender requirements, and the lenders get their direction from the underwriters, and so the underwriters taking a look at that as a risk assessment on their end, and if something happened and they ended up foreclosing on the property, what is it that they're going to have to do in order to get it resold? And all the banks, I mean, we've talked about this before, and I'm sure Bill has talked about it before too. What is it that, what is their risk assessment? And they're getting this from underwriting. So the underwriter's taking a look at that saying, here's a swimming pool.
And the other
Why
thing,
wouldn't the appraiser
well, the
demand
appraiser,
that the heat be turned on
I think that sounds
before
like
the final day?
either the appraiser did and the realtor didn't, or
Somebody screwed up there?
Yeah, that's just a miscommunication.
yeah.
All right.
But the pool thing, maybe talk to Karen Rice. Is that who you're dealing with?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. Talk to Karen Rice about putting the money in an escrow, and only to be dispersed upon closing and purchasing the cover of the pool once you close it. But put it in escrow with the escrow agreement, spelling out that that's what it will be for.
And that it'll be done within a certain number of days. The other thing you could do is maybe just go and get some inexpensive Visqueen and put that down. Something that
No, they said no, it has to be a hard cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, and these safety covers that are by Pool Supplies are beautiful, and an elephant can stand on them, but they're not hard. And like I said, you have to anchor them. And not only that, when I talk to Karen Rice, I'm dealing with people that are out of New Jersey.
Right.
And even she said, how did you end up there? Because she's right here.
Well, I would suggest the escrow. I would think that would solve that problem.
Run that by me again, please.
Ask them to do an escrow agreement where you put the funds for the pool cover in an escrow account, and only to be dispersed upon closing and receipt.
Yeah, when you do close, then
Yeah, when you close and you give them a bill for the pool cover, then they'll pay for that after closing.
So the funds are there directed.
It is selling as is, so the
No,
seller will not
I understand
pay
that, but you have to solve this issue and putting the money in an escrow account and it being paid for after closing, but the escrow account's going to spell that out. Karen should know what I'm talking about. Just mention that to her.
I'm waiting to hear back from her today, but I listen to you every week, and I thought, well, I'd ask your opinion too.
Yeah, so I think that should solve it, and hopefully it does.
And that's typically what the underwriters are looking for, is that solution.
Yeah, it would have been nice to know sooner than a day before.
Yeah,
That's
that's very common today.
That's one of the issues in our jobs right now, is that this is not unusual. We get this stuff all the time on almost every deal where you're dealing with last-minute issues of underwriting. So
Yes, and because it didn't say drive on some of the papers.
Oh, yeah, we've had that happen.
Spent hours redoing everything,
Mm-hmm.
and then we found out it was a title company that didn't write drive on there.
yeah, welcome to our world.
You know, speaking of,
Thank you. Good luck. Let us know if that goes through.
Thank you.
Thank you.
speaking of that kind of world, did you know that they're increasing the requirements to get into real estate?
Did that pass?
I don't know, but I'm sure it will.
What?
It makes a lot of sense.
Do you have to be a breathing?
Used to be you only had to breathe, and then they added education on top of it.
Well, education in there.
Right.
Okay.
And now they're doubling that education, and then
That's the
once you-
proposal.
Yeah, I think it will. I'll be surprised
I
if it
hope it
doesn't
does.
pass, because this
But
job.
her issue sounds very troubling to me.
Well, it
That-
is, but see,
that
that's a
should have
typical-
been.
Actually,
That
I don't
should-
think it's that troubling.
Well, it should have. That sounds like it should have been taken care
It
of
should
far
have been.
before you got to the table.
Here's who I take, who I have an issue with. You know, it sounds to me like that home buyer is doing a lot of the work herself when her realtor ought to be doing it. Number one. Number two, and I'm, you know, I don't know any of the details other than what she just said.
Yeah.
But number two, the banks that own those properties do not care about that property. All they care about is getting rid of it. They're not going to do anything more to it than they already have to get rid of it. So whatever the requirement is of her lender, and maybe it is worth going down to County National Bank and having a conversation saying, this is what I'm trying to do, can you do this for me?
But that'll be
Because-
an additional 3 to 4 weeks.
a couple,
closing,
yeah,
yeah.
at least.
Mhm.
But the bank, it's her lender that is requiring these other items to be done based on their
Yeah.
underwriting procedures. So, and each one of those banks has different underwriters
Right.
who are going to scrutinize different paperwork. We've had, you know, she mentioned the paperwork needing to be consistent with road or drive or
But
not.
my question, Mark, these were all
Yeah, but that's
things that were.
every single transaction.
This is the last day. I mean, what
that
those
happens
were
all
the
the
time.
time.
Certainly-
Happens all the time now.
certainly we knew a month ago
No.
that there was a pool.
Yes.
Well, we did, but we didn't know that they were going to require that it be covered or filled in.
And
for
that
God's
could
sake.
that could be a timing issue too, because now it's winter time, and you know maybe they're looking at it as like we want to make sure that our risk is covered, meaning the pool is covered. And had it closed a month ago, they might not have done
Cared,
that.
because there would have been water in it.
Are you taking calls, Mark?
I love them.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. I have a question. It's probably unrelated to what you're talking about, but I'll ask anyway.
That's okay.
Does the city of Detroit have any dollar house program going on or anything equivalent to that, where you can buy a block for $10,000 or something?
I'm sure you could buy a block of Detroit for a small amount.
Well,
of money.
I'm going to back you up there. I think the communities are starting to limit selling property for $1, because what we're seeing, and we're seeing it here in Jackson, and this is why the city is analyzing all the homes that are vacant and looking at tearing them down, is their concern is that people will buy them for $1, do minimum repairs, and then rent them out. And now you still have your problem of the homes that are deteriorating and not
non-owner-
repaired.
owner.
So I think that the day of dollar dealing, unless you're going to put some money in escrow and guarantee that that house is going to be brought up to the code that's expected, I don't think you're going to see it as
Well, you'd
frequent.
always have to bring it up to code, wouldn't you?
I think that's a matter of.
I think each municipality has their different standards,
And-
despite the fact that there's a building code out
and
there.
do they have the manpower to be able to enforce
Correct.
it?
So I think you're going to start seeing that
I would-
those
But to answer your
chances
question,
go
I
away.
would say yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I would say I don't know.
I would say yes.
What would you say would be a reasonable amount of money to buy a house in Detroit with an empty block and a house on it? Which is a lot of-
Well, from what I understand, and I don't know for sure, although I am going to a meeting next week that hopefully we'll hear
Before
from.
next Thursday?
Yes.
So you'll be able to speak of it next Thursday?
Yeah, maybe. I'm going to Chicago to a conference called the CEOs for Cities, and Dave Bing will be there probably talking about that. But what he's trying to do, from what I understand, is kind of bring the city into closer boundaries, and those houses where there's only one house on a block now move those people into the city somehow. I'm not sure how he's doing it, but that's what I understand.
Well, what are you doing with the house?
I don't know what they're doing with that property. So,
Okay.
good question, interesting question.
Thank
I may
you.
have an answer for you next week.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
There are actually four lakefront foreclosures on the market right now. One of them came on the market today.
I only showed
3 of
two.
them.
Is it Jackson County?
Yep. 3 of them are on Lake Columbia, and one of them is on Batiste Lake in Munich.
Yep.
So
Wrapping it up.
The one
Wrapping it up.
The one on Batiste Lake is 116,000. There's one on Lake Columbia just came up for 175,000, which is terrific, I think. There's one that's got a contingent offer, and then one on Southern Shores for 279,900, and that one is a mess. I showed that one.
Good show. When you have real estate dilemmas, call this show.
That's right.
780-3800 is our number, though, and they
That's
can
right.
always email us at thinkingrealestate.com.